we get started with Shedeur Sanders, man. You saw the performance he put forth on Friday night against the Carolina Panthers in his first career NFL game, which ended up being his first career NFL start. Shedeur was fantastic. If you look at his stats right here, my man's 60.9% completion percentage, 138 yards passing. He threw 2 touchdowns. QB rating was 106.8, and he added 19 rushing yards as well. Cecil, I thought he was poised. I thought he had great command of the huddle. I thought he read the defense very well. I thought that he did a great job of relaying the information from the coach to his teammates inside of the huddle. I thought he threw the ball well under pressure. I thought that he showed me that he had a little bit more athleticism than what he got credit for. And just like I see him pretty much do during training camp, he did his best work in the red zone. You know, he gave himself a C+. There was moments in the game to where he did have some missed throws, and he did take 2 sacks. But overall, I thought it was a pretty damn good performance from Shedeur Sanders. He looked like a pro quarterback, and I thought this was something huge that he can build off of as we get ready for the Philly week.
I don't want to. I agree with everything you said. I don't want to get myself too excited, but what I saw was somebody that was very comfortable with the game. Somebody that was very comfortable with what they were calling on offense. Somebody that, like you mentioned, had not only command of the huddle, but command of the game. Like, the game didn't look too fast for him. There's different speeds in preseason to regular season to playoffs. I get all that. But for the situation that he was dialed up in, to have no starting receivers, to not having really a lot of starters at all with him in that first group that was out, and for him to have that command was a really big deal. When I mean he got comfortable out there, I mean he looked comfortable. As the game started going on, when he scrambled for that 3rd and 9, I'm like, oh, he in his bag now. He in his bag now. Like, and it's only going to get more comfortable for him, right? The more reps he gets, the more opportunity he gets. But what we saw is what we saw at Jackson State. What we saw is what we saw at Colorado. It's the poise. It's the being willing to stay in the pocket when pressure's coming and make a tough throw. That throw on 3rd down and long and backed up in his own territory. Come on, man. With somebody in his face, come on, man. Like, that's what we were saying pre-draft. Like, hey, we see what he has, right? And for him to go out there and just do what we all thought he could do, it was a fun night to see. But what made it special was all the build up to it. Everything that built up to it, not getting a lot of first team reps, being the 4th guy, throwing to, like you told me, equipment managers at one point. Just everything that led up to it, and him to go out there and perform the way he did is special. Not perfect, right? But it was some darn good stuff out there, man. Like, his ability to slide in the pocket from rookie quarterbacks, and I've played with a bunch from rookie quarterbacks. Normally, when pressure comes, they are running all the way to the right or running all the way to the left. His ability to slide in the pocket, stay focused, and look downfield, and be able to make the quality throws and understand, hey, if I'm throwing in the end zone, in the front part of the end zone, middle of the front part, I gotta throw the ball low. If I'm throwing in the back part of the end zone, I gotta throw the ball high. Like, he's just savvy, man. I love what I've seen. I don't want to overreact, but I'm very excited. Like, I think this kid can be special, and it's only gonna get better from here. I'm just interested to see now, what will the reps be moving forward. Like, what will the reps look like? Will he still be number 4? Will he even play this week? Because it's only two preseason games left. So I'm curious to see how it goes. But from what I've seen, he is somebody that we all thought he was.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, the huge, completion when they were backed up in their own end zone, and he had pressure in his face, and I believe, that was a starting defensive tackle that was rushing him down, and so for him to stand in that pocket and deliver that dime right there, just like that, it was great. I thought another great throw of his was when he was under center and he came from play action and he hit the tight end. I think his name is Braden Bates, on what they call a bang 8. And for a lot of people who were concerned about, if he can play under center, if he can, operate with the play action and things like that, to me, I felt like that he answered a lot of questions and he put to bed a lot of different narratives that was put out there about him, when it comes to him being able to be a professional quarterback or a franchise quarterback. And I'm trying to temper myself as well because the fan in me is overly excited. To me, it looks like, the Browns may have found a franchise quarterback. And I'm excited. I said yesterday on the radio, if I'm him, I'm using this and I'm very confident in my ability. I'm very confident in my performance. And I can't wait for these joint practices against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm telling coach, hey man, feed me, put more on my plate. I've shown you what I can do. And you talk about the reps in the quarterback competition. Listen, that's a huge question. And we all want answers to that question because we don't know what this week will look like. But I tell you this, it's funny how everything played out, and I'm glad it played out the way that it did. I'm glad that he was last on the depth chart. I'm glad that he really didn't get the first team reps. I'm glad that when he got his opportunity, he balled out against Carolina's first team unit. Because to me, I feel like any questions that would have came from this performance, if everything else would have lined up perfectly, it still would have gave haters, for lack of a better word, something to talk about. But you can really argue that not too many situations were lined up A, B, C, D, E, F, G in order for him to go out there and have success. And he still went out there and had success anyway. So why do I like that, bro? Because with him going first of all the quarterbacks and being balling out the way that he did, now the ball is in their court. It's not in his now. Go back and look at the numbers. Based on this performance, now the ball is in their court, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday on 92.3 The Fan. Just take a look at this. This was me and Spencer yesterday on the Wake Up.
Some people in this world that don't need the perfect situation to produce. And Shedeur Sanders, if he did not check any other box for you, he should have checked that one for you last night.
100%.
That this man do not need to be in a perfect situation. This man is a stewardess. He's faith-driven. He works hard, and he believes in himself. When you are somebody that walks around with that level of confidence, with your head held high, and this belief in what you can do, that is energy that galvanizes the troops. That is magnetic energy. And this team, this fan base, and this city can use that.
Thoughts?
When you see the excitement on the sideline from the older vets, like Njoku was all over him during the game. Like you talked about how he can galvanize the troops, not needing anybody else. Like the guys were so excited for him. So I can't imagine. I think I texted you the night before. I'm like, imagine him just playing like he played last night with a running game.
Mm-hmm.
Then you add Jerry Jeudy. Then you add Cedric Tillman. Then you add David Njoku. Then you add Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward and all the guys. Like you're building something. Like now it's some excitement that really goes into the team. And himself alone brings enough excitement. His swagger, his aura, his command of the team. Like you can already see he's a leader of men. And I couldn't agree with you more, Earl. Just being honest, like he doesn't, and he proved that at Jackson State, he don't need a lot. He proved it at Colorado, he don't need a lot. And when his first year in Colorado, he was getting hit more. His 2 years in Colorado, he was being hit more than any other quarterback in the whole college football. Like he doesn't need a ton to be successful. He's proved that over and over and over again that he can fight through the odds and fight through adversity. So I'm with you, man. I'm excited. And you made a great point. The pressure's on Dillon. The pressure's on Kenny. The pressure's on I wouldn't say Joe, but the pressure's on the other guys to go out there and produce because now he set the bar here. So if anybody is underneath it and doesn't meet that, what are you doing?
Cat out the bag, and you can't put it back in now. That's just the truth. He didn't show you what he can do. We talk a lot about this whole offseason, man. Us in the media, we have spoken a lot about processing, mechanics, and drop backs, and fading left and fading right. But you've played this game at the highest level. And he said this in his post game. Man, when you put that jersey on, you strap that helmet on, at the end of the day, man, football always been throw ball, catch ball. You know what I mean? Run ball. Like this game, we make it more complex than what it really is. So I guess I said that all that to say, man, some people are just flat out gamers, right? Game breakers and game changers. And Shedeur is one of those people, you know. And to me, I was just happy to see him put to bed some of those narratives. And speaking of that, I ain't gonna say his name. If you want to say his name, you can say his name. But there was a video that I seen circulating on Saturday morning that of an event that took place after the game. And you know, we talk all the time about how Shedeur Sanders carries himself. You know, we talk about how he is with the media. We talk about how he just goes about his business. And it's funny because I start every show with saying, do something right now that your future self will thank you for. And based on how he performed under the circumstances in Carolina, it lets me know that every single day that this man is doing something as far as his career that his future self is going to thank him for. One reps be damned. Second team reps be damned. What's in front of me? What's on my plate? Let me make sure that I do what I have, what's on my plate, so that when more opportunities come, I'll be ready for it. And he had a moment with a certain media member after the fact to where I called it killing them with kindness. And I'll be very, very interested to see how this certain media member kind of handles Shedeur going forward. But I want to play this video in case you haven't seen it, in case our audience haven't seen it. And I want to get your thoughts on it. You ready?
Yeah. Tony, I be hoping you be hold on. Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You only say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you. No. I ain't see nothing positive that you ever said. I did some positive every day. What I'm saying, come on, Tony. What I do? What I do to you, Tony?
Yo, that video is courtesy of Dillon Sanders Jr., by the way, man. But I call that killing them with kindness, you know, because sometimes when you got people who's just constantly poking the bear, I do think they're trying to get a reaction out of you. And it's funny because Shedeur Sanders is what, 23 years old, born February 7th. I'm 37 and I can learn some things from this young man. That when people poke the bear, that you don't really have to respond with aggression or with anger. You can just kill them with kindness and keep it moving. But I promise you, I will definitely be watching how Tony handles him going forward. What did you think of that interaction?
Maturity. I'm not sure how they ran across each other and got to each other after the game like that, but I love the fact that he came to him with respectfully. Because I've seen it go the opposite way. Guys just get fed up. And people can say all they want. And like they tell athletes all the time, never read your clippings, stay away from Twitter. It's hard, especially in today's world. It's hard. It's everywhere all the time. And especially with a kid like him who grew up in the spotlight and in the media, you have no choice but to hear and know what's going on, right? So I thought he handled it very well. And I'm interested to see how Tony G is going to be moving forward. He's very hard on every single person he talks about, especially Shedeur. He's been hard on Baker in the past. He's been hard on other people. So I'm interested to see if will he change his narrative when it comes to Shedeur Sanders this year? That interaction showed me a lot from a quarterback, and it makes me want him to be the quarterback more. Like if I'm a part of that team, I know when times get tough, he's going to be able to handle it in a mature way. I know in the fourth quarter when we need to drive, from that conversation alone, I feel confident as a man. He's going to look at it face on, head up, just like he did, eye to eye, and we're going to move down the field and make something happen. That just gives me confidence as him as a leader, as a quarterback, as a young man. But how he handled that was perfect, man. Like literally, Earl. Like it was ideally how you want your quarterback to handle things. Face to face, man to man, not disrespectfully, didn't curse, didn't raise his voice, actually laughed with him and made him, Tony, feel a little bit uncomfortable because he didn't know what to say at first. Tony was just like,
he was tongue-tied. He was
like,
shook.
He was mumbled.
He was shook.
Like, and that says a lot that he was shook from a 20-something-year-old. Like, that didn't come at you disrespectfully. He came at you, like you said, with kindness and laughed with you and was like, yo, why don't you say something positive about me?
Yeah, he like, I ain't never did nothing to you, Tony.
Like, come on. So it's interesting. I loved it, but it's interesting.
And one thing I thought, and I kind of thought about it serious, but I was going to tweet it out in a joking manner. He handled it much better than Baker did. You know,
Yes, he did.
Baker got fed up with Tony, and Baker let him know, I don't rock with you. I ain't feeling you. I can remember when Greg Swartz was here as the DC, and it was something the same way. So, but I think that us, that's a part of the media. It gives us, how sometimes things happen elsewhere as a blueprint for you what to do or what not to do, and we got to remember, like, we still in the people business. You know what I mean? That if you strip away everybody's occupation, like, we still like humans, we still people. And so, like, to your point, we're not robots, and it's unrealistic to expect that in the social media era with somebody that young, that they are not going to see these things. And for him to be man enough to address it, but then address it the way that he did, like I said, I struggle from time to time to kind of keep my emotions regulated. And I know, like, some of the things that you that's said to you on social media, and sometimes you feel the need to respond. And so, just us at our ages, it's a reminder that no matter how young or old somebody is, they can teach you a thing or two.
That's a fact, man. And you gotta remember too, like, he's been battle tested. Like, when he first got to Colorado, it was a lot of love, but it was a lot of hate because it was completely different than what everybody was used to. So him being able to handle that, him being able to handle one of the top quarterbacks in the nation going to Jackson State and playing well his freshman year, and him being doubted and talked about, and like, it's only because he's daddy that he's playing and the starting, and I mean everything from the retirement of the jerseys, everything. He knows what to do. He knows how to handle things, and it's just exciting to see from a young man, especially at his age.
Before we move on to the Guardians part of this show, were there anything else that kind of stood out either from Shedeur, from Huntley, or just Kevin Stefanski, from the game plan, just the overall Browns game? What stood out to you? I do want to give a couple hand claps, man, to the entourage, as it was put. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the entourage. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about Bubba Ventrone's unit, man. Shout out to that part of the entourage who special teams, they showed up and showed out, man. Shout out to the defensive part of the entourage who had to take away the entire entourage. I thought they went out there and they executed very well. I know preseason don't count in the standings, but as far as an evaluation and executing, I thought it was an overall solid effort from everybody involved. What did you think?
I agree. I love what I seen from Carson. I think he's as advertised when it comes to playing linebacker. Watching the game back after it originally played, and I kind of just watched him in particular. He seemed to be around the ball all the time. Like, and he only got a certain amount of snaps, but he seemed to be around the ball every time. It was one drive he was on the ball. It was six. I think it was 6 total snaps that drive. He had 5 tackles. Like, he is just doing a good job of shedding the offensive lineman, getting his head in there. He looks quick. He looks fast. He doesn't look overwhelmed. And these were the starters for Carolina he was going against. You know what I mean? Like, I thought he played decently well, and that makes me excited for his future. Love what I see from Dillon Sampson, even though it was a few snaps. And I think they handled Dillon correctly because the running back room is so thin right now with injuries and people not being there. But overall, I thought it was a good showing. Excited to see what's upcoming this week with the Philadelphia Eagles, former Super Bowl champions. A lot of good talent on that roster. So for for practices, the joint practices to be happening, that's going to be good. But I love going back to the game. Kevin Stefanski, he called plays where Shedeur was comfortable with, if that made sense.
First 6 snaps was out the shotgun. I paid attention to that.
He made Shedeur comfortable, and that's a big job. That's a good job by Kevin. Like, okay, let's go empty here. Let's go 2 wide. Let's just get you in shotgun. And then he went, as they got close, as the game went on, he went under center and did different things, and he proved he can do it. Still some things I want him to do better with his fakes, but man, I thought it was a strong showing from Kevin, from the Browns, and definitely from Shedeur.
That 3rd and 9 empty when he scrambled for the first down, that play still stands out to me because you got an empty set, man-to-man coverage, and you got 5 rushers. He identified what was going on very, very quick. and he got up out of there. To me, it stood out because if you think about what's going on in Indy with Anthony Richardson, for example, right? The play that's been floating around social media when they played their first preseason game against Baltimore, it was something similar to that, and he didn't know what the hell was going on. And this is somebody that's going into their third season, trying to compete for the starting job. And so it kind of just gives you a little bit of an idea of where he is already as a rookie, as far as being able to pick up on what the defense is doing. I thought the throw to Floria, man. Shout out to Luke Floria, man. A Northeast Ohio native, Mentor kid. But just everything about that play, how the pressure came, how he got out the pocket, how he was redirecting on a go, and then I thought it was a nice throw, hell of a catch by Floria. But you see a lot of good things there. And one of the other things, he gave it a C plus, gave it about a B, B plus, but he gave it a C plus. The fact that he knows there's so much room for improvement and is eager to improve, and that's exciting. That's exciting.
It is exciting. It is exciting. A lot of good things out there. And again, he ain't have his top guys. Like, it wasn't many top guys out there, and they were going against the ones, especially the first couple series, going against the ones of the Panthers. And I'll say this too: the first drive of the game, some of that, like I think they ended up getting off the field because he caught a pass short of the first down. Some of that stuff is like younger receiver mistakes. You don't catch a ball in front of the sticks when it's 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8. You know what I mean? So it's some things that veteran receivers, veteran guys would have made those things, and the drive could have lasted longer. But great job by Shedeur Sanders and those guys.
Big facts, man. Don't forget, man, subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page. Smash the like button if you're watching this episode. We got over 1,000 people watching this live for the 3rd straight Sunday, man. Me and Cecil cannot tell you how much we thank you all for supporting the Ultimate 216 show.